Let's call the meeting to order at 7:02. I know in the past I have skated over the pledge. I just kind of felt odd pledging to my computer, but I think on this day particularly, we should probably join in the pledge. So if you would join me, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Diane, can we have the roll call, please?
Dave Dickinson.
Here.
Dan Colzo.
Here.
Dawn Kiefler.
Here.
Pat Leach.
Here.
Brian McCarty.
Here.
Bill Ott.
Here.
Rob Riley.
Here.
Everybody have a chance to review the minutes?
Yes. Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
A motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
You got that, Diane? Second by Rob, second by Brian.
Okay, all right.
Is there any discussion on the minutes? Those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Any public comments, John?
None.
Okay. All right, let's move on to our projects. Not a whole lot happening at Elburn Station Park. John, do you have anything?
I don't. He's on my list of people to call to find out what the status, where he's been and what he's going to do. Realize that the weather prevents any real sort of ground moving progress, but the shelter's out there and he's got pieces to put it together. So I would have expected that would have gone up. That is something that he had mentioned doing in the past. So I don't know why they haven't been doing it now. I don't know. I'll find out.
Yeah, he's pretty close to being completed there, isn't he?
Yeah.
Is the earthwork done?
What's that?
Is the earthwork done?
As far as I mean, I don't think it's the final grade, but it should be pretty darn close.
Mhm.
The field, I think, was half seeded. There's some asphalt work that has to be done. Some other things with the courts, but he should be done, well ahead of the April 15th. The only thing that's going to hold him up is asphalt.
Okay, so that's the deadline, April 15th. Does that have to be 100% or can it be 95% complete or?
According to IDNR, it has to be 100%.
Okay.
But they also have to come out and verify.
Okay. Right. All right, we'll be coming back to Elburn Station throughout tonight a little bit. 2021 budget. I attended the meeting last night, the COW meeting, and they went over the budget. It's the same story, there's not a lot of money out there. They approved our wish list with the exception of the community center park. There just isn't enough dollars in the coffers to cover that, and a couple other questions about the lease arrangement came up that would need to be addressed before we went any further with that project. So if we take our wish list that we proposed, it came in at $244,095. And if you back out the park for 180,000, we have an ask of 64,000. 4,950 is our ask. And correct me if I'm wrong, John, I think we have a budget or allowable funds for the year of 162,000.
That's correct.
So obviously we're not going to spend all 162, and there's going to be other projects that we'll be talking about here shortly, but that's where we're at. Asking 64, we got 162 available. Okay. The village board wanted to pass along their kudos for the fine work the committee has been doing, not only this past year, but for the past 4 years. I think we start our 5th year this year. So they're on board with what we're doing. Keep up the good work, and let's see what the future holds. John, is there anything regarding the budget that you wanted to elaborate on, or did we cover it?
No, I think you've pretty much covered it. You know, the point I wanted to make out to the board last night is that you guys have followed their direction to dream big and let them figure out how to pay for stuff. And you know, you start taking a look back at your list of accomplishments, and the ideas that y'all have come up with have been phenomenal. You know, I mean, you know, Pat, last year, the movie in the park, you know, what a great idea. They're in full support of doing the band shell and getting the electricity out there and turning that into something. You know, that's absolutely awesome. You take a look at Elliott Family Park, you know, Brian, what you've done out there to spearhead that. You know, line up donors for other parks as well. You know, you guys are incredibly involved, and you know, I want to echo what the board said as well, is that you guys are more than just a board. I mean, you guys are a volunteer. You walk the walk and you talk the talk. You go out there and you follow through. And I think Diane backed me up on this. You know, we've gotten some, what I'll say, some complaints about our staff that's out there at the ice rink. And it's like, you know what? You got complaints about them people? You give us your number and you come on out. And you can help them, you know, clear the ice or clear the snow off there. You can help them do that. And, you know, and the response is, oh, I thought that was all staff. I thought they were paid to be out there. No, it's entirely volunteer. So you got complaints, you know, you can come to a meeting and you can tell these volunteers that you don't like doing their, you know, the work that they're doing. Well, that's a bunch of nonsense. You guys are doing a great job, and, you know, please keep it up with the ideas, and, you know, you're making Elburn better. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
John, did that person that complained about the ice rink, were they complaining about a lady that chased kids off the ice? Because I know who that is. We'll have to talk.
No, I think that's a different woman. I don't think she walks that far.
Okay.
She walks around my neighborhood a lot.
All right, very good, very good. All right, segueing into the next item, the ice rink update. You know, I think Dawn and, you know, Brian, Dawn and Dave and I, we've been working on resurfacing that from time to time. I think we finally have a system down. It's working well. The last application that the 3 of us did. Oh, by the way, Brian, how's your back? Are you ready to go again?
Unmute, Brian.
Okay.
Unmute.
All right, so we've got the we got 500 feet of garden hose that we use now to resurface the ice, and that works out pretty well. It's on metal hose reels. Okay, the hose that we have is not the most pliable. It gets a little stiff, but it works. And the last application we did the next morning, it was a very nice surface. We've been trying to make up for some big grooves and mounds up there, and I think we're finally catching up to it.
Dan, is that hose big enough diameter? Do you get enough water out of it?
Yeah, because it's just a steady flow. It comes out nice and steady. Yes, when we're trying to fill huge holes, it might take us a little while, but I think it works.
Okay.
You know, we might get a kink in it and it stops the flow altogether, but it's a 2-person job out there. The second person would be moving the hose around and unkinking it. And once you get the handle of that, it flows pretty well.
Okay.
Dawn, you did the last application. You didn't have too much trouble with the water flow?
No, not at all. I think from start to finish, it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours tops that we're out there.
Yeah, yeah, when you're taking 3.5-foot swipes every time and going nice and slow, so it
Yeah,
works. It's a heck of a lot better than rolling out 3-inch fire hose all the time.
Okay.
That's for sure. So that's a good thing. Tomorrow, the weather's supposed to be what, 34? 34 of a high, possibly. I think tomorrow afternoon, evening would be another good time to get out there and resurface before the cold weekend comes. Anybody available?
What time?
What time?
Usually about, 5:30, we allow kids to get on there in the afternoon, and usually by 5:30, we get out there, we clean it up, and it takes us an hour or two to prep it, or to do the job. So we're done like, 7:30, and then we're kind of assured that nobody's gonna come in and mess it up after we're gone,
Right.
because we're that late. So,
Okay.
whatever
We'll
you
try to
guys,
make 5:30 tomorrow.
okay,
Yeah.
5:30,
All right.
I'll be there.
okay, good. Fabulous, the more the merrier.
Yeah, it's, I'm looking at the 10-day right now, and after tomorrow, we are not above freezing.
Right.
Ooh,
Do we need any equipment for tomorrow? So we come a little prepared?
Uh,
a leaf blower is really useful.
Oh, I got a big one, the DeWalt with extra batteries.
no,
All right.
speaking of which, at the, I was gonna mention this at the end of the meeting, but obviously most of you guys know that I'm not here for the next 2 months. So that means my snow blower is not here for the next 2 months.
Mine is.
If anybody has a snow blower that you can take up there,
Mine's portable.
okay, then you'd be in charge of that, boss. Thank you.
What's the leaf blower for? Just moving the water around?
Move the snow out, blow the snow out of the rink.
Yeah,
Because I've got
sometimes,
a battery powered one as well that I can bring.
sometimes it's not enough for a blower and it's a little too much for a shovel and you get a lot of residual left.
Okay.
So, all right, so 5:30 tomorrow for a Zamboni party.
I'll bring beverages.
Okay. Rob, where's the sign?
Well, I sent you the estimate and everything, so I don't know whether we just need to buy it. I thought we had a list of rules and we are gonna put on there, but it's the sign where you can change, skate or no skate.
Wonderful. Then last month, we said you and John figure it out and get it done. I think
Yeah,
we're
we haven't talked. But I sent the invoice or the new estimate out, so.
okay, looks great to me. John, does it look good to you?
Is that the one you guys want?
It's
Yeah.
a sign.
Yeah.
We get tired of hearing about no sign out there.
Yeah,
If I
Well,
see
we'll
it,
get it just in time to start busting down the ice rink.
yeah, I know.
Did
Yeah.
you guys ever get those, the goals?
I was gonna ask you that. I haven't seen anything.
Okay.
Did you work?
They were supposed to, yes, they're supposed to be in at around the end of the month, which this is getting very close to.
Yeah, because Bill, weren't they supposed to be in at like the beginning of the month and they pushed it back another week or 10 days or something like that?
Well, the email said closer to the end of the month.
No. Okay.
Where are they getting shipped to?
Public Works.
Okay. All right, any other questions, comments on the ice rink?
what about just getting like a red flag and a green flag to hang up on the fence there?
I think that would temporarily definitely work. Because I don't know how they're gonna install the sign with the snow on there, but
Probably hanging on the fence.
yeah.
I mean, can you come up with a couple of rags on a stick and tie it to the fence?
I found a company in Elgin that has them in stock, so they can ship them in a day or two, and the size, like a 3x5 would be $25. There's a 2x3 for $15. So I don't know if that's an option, just to have a red or a green flag, either you can skate or not skate.
All right, what do you guys think? There's two flags? Is the flag system effective without any type of signage that says what it means? I mean,
Well,
we
I
know,
think
we
just-
know what it means.
Yeah, but I think just to get something out there, it's a good idea until we get a regular sign. You know,
All right.
both, you know, so.
Does that come with a pole, Dawn?
No,
Or
it doesn't. I just figured we'd clip it to the fence. It's
Okay.
got like the grommets on the top of it, so we can just get the little hooks and clip it on. I don't have one here, but
Okay,
We could- I mean, it's for a temporary measure, and Rob can use Mr. Happy Facebook and just let people know if you see a green flag, skate, if you see a red flag, please stay off. And if temperatures stay below 0 for the next week and a half, that it'll be that long before the sign gets in, 2 weeks, maybe. So we only need the flag for a couple weeks, so it might be worthwhile.
Well, even if we get the sign, I think the flags could still be useful because people could see them when they're driving by.
Yeah,
Once
they're
they, once
just
they know what they mean.
aren't on Facebook though, because last year we had kids on the rink and they weren't on Facebook, but so they never got the message.
Maybe you
Alright,
need a TikTok page or something.
all right, John, can you get us some flags?
Yeah, Don, just send me the link and tell me what it is that you want.
okay. Do we want the 2x3 for 15 or the 3x5? I mean, you guys see it all the way from 47, so
I think 2x3 is fine.
2x3. Okay.
That's my opinion. Anybody else?
That's good.
Okay.
2x3.
I've got sticks of conduit that I can put some pipe clamps on and have a point of attachment for those flags. So we can have them permanently attached to the conduits.
Will the union
And
allow
you
you
can
to do that?
probably just cable tie them to the post every time you swap it out.
Weigh them down is a good idea because those banners do catch, if they catch the right wind, they'll rip off and fly away.
Okay. So, all right, so I'll get that ready. Okay. Moving on.
Can I ask a question? Are we connected via text? Or can we be, John? Is that some violation of,
It is a violation, yeah. I mean, a text is no different than an email. If you were to text Dan, it's fine. But if you're to do a group text, you know, more than a majority of a quorum. So if you're doing more than 3 people, it's a violation.
okay. I was just thinking for things like, hey, we're up here working on the rink, stuff like that. We couldn't
Yeah,
even do.
I know. It's a pain,
Okay.
but that's the way it's been interpreted.
Because I have not, and I just got to be honest, I don't check that Elburn email as often as I should. And I wasn't aware of any time anybody was up there working on the rink. I'm a couple blocks away. I would have come up there if I was here, but I don't know what's happening. I'll be there tomorrow because I know it's happening.
Yeah, surprisingly, I don't think I even have your phone number, Pat. I think I got your email. But,
I'll get it to you tomorrow.
6707?
Yep.
Yes, I do. Okay, all right, so that's that. I had lunch with Jeff and John, and they were talking about the soccer fields, soccer teams, football teams approaching the mayor about field usage. How many do we have? What can we do? Stuff like that. So they have been using all the fields available, all the open space available, and I think they want more fields, John. And we're looking at expanding the grassy area directly south of the ball fields in Blackberry Creek.
Basically a continuation of what they did last fall.
Say that again, John?
A continuation of what they did last fall, where they went out there, set up a couple of fields, they mowed it, they maintained it, and they're going to have to do that at least for another season before they get across the street.
Yeah, so we're talking about expanding that area that they're in already. I don't know what the grass is like over there. You know, it's been weeds for a while. Cut it down. I don't know if it's a good soccer field. It's going to need some nurturing, which I believe the soccer teams are willing to do to help, you know, get another field in there or two. I sent you that MapQuest diagram of the location, and they're wanting to put in 2 fields there. I think they've got the space for the 2 fields. And, you know, we also talked about someday down the road, we're going to have to possibly think how are we going to manage these fields with teams and clubs that want to use them. Scheduling, fee structure, something like that is going to have to be addressed in the near future. I think at this point in time that donation of work in kind is probably more valuable than, you know, $100 to rent a field. You know, that soccer club that helps develop that land is pretty good investment, I would say.
I would agree.
Okay, if everybody's in agreement with that.
My only thought, we talked about temporary parking, and I'm pulled up your screenshot here. And I thought we were gonna do something where the anticipated new police station would be, where that hill is slowly being diminished, that they were gonna put some temporary parking in.
It's in.
It is, it's,
The picture does not show, the MapQuest is not updated. If you're looking at the
Oh.
one I sent you.
well,
there's-
how far back does it go? I understand, I was just by there the other day, and there was a woman in a black Cadillac blocking the entire entrance, because I wanted to go back there. How far back is the temporary lot? Or is it a grass lot?
It's gravel.
Okay. Is it more toward the building then?
It's, you know where that entrance is off of Anderson where it's paved?
Yeah,
It should line up with, I think, Veteran. If you kept going straight west, you would end up in the parking lot.
okay. Do we need signage that says parking or?
Probably. But you know
Okay.
what? You know what's going to end up happening is that the minute one person finds it, they're all going to find it.
Okay. Disregard.
All right, so part of that, of what I had just mentioned about guidelines for field usage, fee structures and stuff is something that we need to start thinking about for in the future. You know, once we get the field set, established, they're being regular use, we have to have some groundwork, some idea of how we're going to manage and maintain that. That would fall under long-range planning. The field, we have one field seated at Elburn Station. I know that some clubs might think they can get on that field this year. I don't see that happening. They'll tear it up. But that project, that Elburn Station project, as it sits right now, John, we have one field developed.
Yes,
And that's it. That's the end of that plan for that phase.
right.
We were talking, John and Jeff, we're talking the possibility of developing a second field there on our own or in conjunction with, what's his name out there? Shodine.
So,
The area is kind of cleared. We might need a little fine grading and seeding, and we might have the makings of a second field in the making too. So that's something that I would encourage us to consider. Now that we have a little more room in the budget this year, we should be able to do that, squeeze that in. And if we have 2 fields going at the same time, and if they're ready at the same time, maybe 2022, maybe it's still, we alternate fields, or we have that ability to alternate play on those fields as they get more established. So something to consider for,
Any estimate on what it would cost to grade and seed it? $30,000?
I leave that to you, John.
Well, actually, Phil and I have talked about it, and that was discussed at the meeting that we had. I don't know if Phil's had a chance to talk with Wilkinson or not. I'll ask Phil tomorrow. He's should be in the office tomorrow, so we'll see if he's had a chance to talk to him. I mean, I got to talk to Wilkinson anyways. Just find out what his status is out there at the park. So see what he says.
Yeah. John, I have a question for you. I'm backing up to the finance meeting at the COW meeting. You had made comment that the village is expecting repayment from a couple parties on that Elburn Station project. When they get that repayment of what they're in for, does that go to the parks budget, or does that go to your general budget?
Yes and no.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is that we get reimbursed from Blackberry Township. They are about done. They've got about 133,000 into this. And we also get reimbursed from Shodine as well. And so that money, the village pays it out, and then we get reimbursed. So the funds that we were looking at last night is an expense account. All you see in that account is money leaving. The money coming in goes into the revenue account, and I'd have to double check with Doug, but that should be going into other revenue account for parks. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to go there, because it's with that park, it's an extraordinary cost. It's extraordinary. It's not
Sure.
just part of normal funding.
Okay. All right. Also backing up, I missed a couple of my notes. Backing up on Elburn Station, we've talked about donors, possible donors for various structures in that park. Has anybody given consideration on naming rights, requirements for naming rights? What do you get for your money? Anybody come up with anything? I looked online for various agreements at, different towns and, across the country and whatnot. And the one thing that that was pretty consistent was that naming a park, you have to be a major donor of the main cost of that park. And I would tend to agree, especially on this one. You don't get Elburn Station Park named after you if you're kicking in only $20,000 on $1 million project. So it'd have to be a bigger nut to get the whole park named after you. If they're substantial enough, or they have a special interest, they can put their name on a pavilion or a tennis court, or maybe we have a donor board of all the donors on the side of the chain link pickleball court or something. I don't know. Any thoughts?
I mean, I always like the idea of bricks, or have residents pitch in. But I also like the idea of parks being named after somebody significant, like Bayerhoff. But I understand the whole money thing comes in place too. So, but I do like, if it would be cool if residents were involved, having the name, or part of it anyways.
Yeah.
Well, my point that I want to bring up is the residents had an opportunity to be involved by passing a referendum for a park district.
Mhm.
And they basically told us no. So I think what we're trying to do, what I've tried to do, and I do have another donor that's willing to do 30,000. And you're right, I agree. He doesn't get to rename the entire train station park. So John and I were going to meet after it got a little bit more developed and find an area or a section, or maybe figure something out. But I definitely don't want to close the door by saying that they have to be substantial donors, because we did talk about this, and it is in our meetings, in our minutes, that we did agree to a previous dollar amount of 25,000 back when we did Elliott Park. And the Elliott Foundation did give 30 plus another 5 for the pavilion. So they're in for 35 on a $110,000 investment.
Mhm.
So I kind of look at those numbers for maybe proceeding forward with any other naming rights for a smaller area of a park and not the whole thing, like you guys mentioned.
Yeah, in an area, sure. If you go on that, if you go on Elliott Park, you're roughly, what, 30% of the overall cost was the donation, roughly. So if you take and apply that same, just for discussion's sake, if you apply the same reasoning to Elburn Station, we're going to be looking at 300,000 investment to get naming rights of the whole park. And I don't think that's going to happen. Plus, we have to keep in mind that Blackberry Township is a major contributor too. So we can't, ice them out of any type of name of that park. So we got to keep that in station. Name a field, name a couple fields, name amenities, fine, go for it. So
Yeah, so just sticking to those numbers, let's just say that it's $30,000, and let's just say that a field is $30,000 to seed. I don't know that it is or isn't. I'm just random thing. But so you could have both fields named, Johnson Fields or something. That would be one way of doing it, and that would capture at least part of the park. Yeah, and I agree. 30%, 30% seems fair. I mean, if someone's going to cough up $300,000 on Elburn Station, then we change the name. I mean, that's someone comes up with that kind of money. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So
community park suddenly becomes Johnson Park. I mean, it's that simple.
I think maybe once we get an idea of a price tag on what it would take to seed to make that second field out there, that would give us a good guideline of what your donors getting for their money and help us justify, hey, it's named after him because he paid for the whole field, to that extent, something like that. So once we get that number, and that'll help us tune it in a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that the fields are the piece. I mean, that was just an example. It could be another part of the playground. It could be the pickleball court. It could be something else. But
Right.
I'm just trying to use that as an example.
So then somehow we would have to probably, I would imagine the donors would want some type of recognition in signage or something. So we'd have to have a low profile signage for that stuff. Maybe 3 feet off the ground or something like that. We can't have billboards scattered across the park. So I'll have to keep that in mind also.
Put signs on the back of the goals for the.
Good. I mean, there's going to be bleachers out there on the fields eventually.
There you go.
You could put it on the back.
Again, these aren't businesses making a $30,000 donation. My friends created a foundation just to give the $35,000 to Elliott Park, so their name was not released to the public. And the same thing's going to happen for the next $30,000 donation. So it isn't putting a banner on the back of a chain link fence of a basketball court. And there are so many residents here in Elburn that believe we have a park district. And I was just cringing when I read the hockey rink article when she referenced the park district of Elburn. I just absolutely cringed because this referendum failed overwhelmingly. And we need to have forethought, like Dan is saying. What are we going to do with maintenance of these parks when we don't have a park district? And I rode around with Phil one day. You want to ride around with Phil for an hour, you will definitely get an earful on what is our parks committee going to do for revenue to maintain these parks. And I think private donors we really got to get the word out there on that we need this to operate these facilities. Right.
So, yeah, that's another part of the long range planning aspect is it time to start kicking around, not trying to get a park district, but start laying the groundwork to get people used to, I don't know, donations, another, I hate to say tax item, tax line, whatever, something. The town's going to grow, the need's going to grow, the bills are going to grow. And with the funding the way it is now, it's not going to keep up. So something has to happen. So somehow we've got to prepare the town that, if we don't do something, this is it. This is what you get, and it's going to sit this way for the next 15 years until, the next group of citizens come in and decide they want something more. So maybe talk to your Brian. I'm in agreement, or I think I'm hearing what you're hearing too, that it's probably still a no for any type of park district. But somehow we got to get word out there that the town's got to come up with some money somewhere. So eventually.
It may be part of our budget to include a part-time college student every summer to help maintain and mow.
Yeah, that would probably fall under Public Works. It would go to them first.
Mm-hmm.
And then when, that's up to the village board, how they're going to shuffle money and labor around. They're already aware that time is fast approaching, especially when we get a lot more field usage like we're expecting in the next couple of years. We might need a person just to manage scheduling on fields during the summer or something like that, programming, movies and bands and scheduling the fields. That might take a part-time person to do some of that.
Sure sounds like a nice retiree job. Just saying.
You're going to be retiring pretty soon, Dave. I think you should put your application in now.
I'll be like the
Dawn
water
to it.
boy. I'll be water boy out there for Elburn or something.
So these are all things that we have to keep in mind as we go forward. Always have that in the back of your heads. I sent out also the 5-year and the 20-year plan that we kind of developed. I hope you had a chance to look at it. Like John was saying, we made a fairly decent dent in our plans, our 5 and our 20-year plans. I'd like to revise this. I'd like to come up with another 5-year and another 20-year. Is there, on these lists that we have, is there something that we're saying, no, we're not going anywhere with that? Trail markers. Take that off the 5-year, leave it in a 5-year. What items should we have for the next 5-year plan? We have
to account for technology coming our way, like trail markers. Don't most people use some sort of an app? So
Yeah.
Should we be focusing on maybe spending money toward whoever has the app designed for Elburn and help pitch in? I don't know.
What do you mean by an app? Like, I know you have GPS watches, and most runners and walkers won't go by a marker. I know that, but
Forest Preserve, all their trails for
Right.
the Forest Preserve are online. So, I mean, can we tap into someone that already has the capabilities to just add a section, Elburn Trails, and just put it online somewhere?
well, Bill and I can ride our bikes around every trail, and it would be up because it measures like exactly where you're at and what trail. So, it's all captured by Garmin and Strava. I mean, that's something to start with.
Yeah, I'm just thinking bigger picture with newer technology. Do we
Right.
actually want to use signage or just use technology?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if we want to name trails, but like if you go on like Strava, you'll see sections of Elburn that are already like mapped for different segments and stuff. That
Yeah, I'm looking at that Gaia map, the GPS, and they've got the trails marked in Elburn for the most part. But I think most people can use a GPS and get around Elburn. I don't know, your walkers might like to know that they're walking a 1-mile loop or something. Hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, like like with the technology right now, most people are going to have some kind of smartwatch to measure where they're at and stuff. But I mean, the mile markers are nice. They look nice. But
Yeah.
they're not as used as, especially races, for instance. There's ones on Great Western. They don't use those mile markers. They, map out their own. And then most people that will bike on it, they'll do a certain mileage and turn around. So
Yeah,
they do look nice. Don't get me wrong.
I do that Fox River Trail during the summer, and some of the signage they have going down there is direction to different towns or different trails is not always accurate. I always go back to the GPS on my phone, and about the only thing I use their markers for is just to kind of keep track of my mileage.
Right. Yeah. It's like they do a lot of organized races out there and bike rides, and same thing. They just mark the course. You'll see markings on the trail too, like turn around and that. So
Yeah, I think trail markers are maybe a secondary item, be more of a wish list, not necessary.
and we
Until
had
we get
stop signs, which was good too. So
Yeah, what's the deal on the stop signs? Is there still people wanting stop signs out there?
we have them on Anderson Road right now. I've seen them there. I don't know if Blackberry has many. I don't know.
Because we were talking at one time, the small stop signs for the trails to stop at the street intersections. Is that something that we need?
I think in Blackberry, there's probably some few spots I would put them on, especially like since Anderson Road's gone through. I think that connecting trail there.
Well, you've got a trail that crosses at Anderson and Kesslinger, and it's signalized. Then the only other one is further south of Independence near Citizen. And that's got stop signs there already.
Yeah. So.
All right. So we might be okay.
Yeah, I think for the most part.
Right. Bill, we had talked fitness stations from day one, and it just keeps getting pushed back and back. Have you had a chance to look at anything?
Yeah, I got 5 different companies that that do it, and it'll average out maybe about $1,000 a station if we want to do 10. That's with volunteer help installing them, which isn't too much of a big deal. It's, digging holes and filling with concrete. The biggest thing is trying to find a spot where we can put these all together. And I was wondering, can we do something with Kane County, or does this have to be strictly Elburn?
What do you mean with Kane County?
With the land, they have some nice spots when you're going down the street that the corner grind is on, and you go into the
North
forest
Street.
right there.
Yeah.
That
Right.
field right there would be perfect for something like this.
Yeah, I would let the Forest Preserve District do that. I'd rather keep,
Okay, I was just,
that's actually that entrance, the minute you get inside there or behind those houses, you actually are, I believe, outside the village anyways.
okay. I didn't know that. Sorry.
But no, I think you're right, Bill. I think that would be a great spot for something like that. And, I'm having a meeting with a person from the Forest Preserve on Friday, talk about bike trail connection to Johnson's Mound. I'll
Yeah.
bring up that idea.
Okay, another location would be at Elburn Station when it's done, so you could see how much land is available to do this. The stations could be on the outskirts of the park itself. I think there's a park in Pleasantdale, closer by LaGrange. And that's exactly what they've done. They have all their ball fields and stuff in the middle, and they have their exercise stations circling it, the boundary, and it works pretty good.
That's an idea.
Yeah.
Mackey
This,
Park is like that too.
sorry, go ahead.
Mackey Park is like that too, and Naperville.
Yes,
they've
yes.
got machines around the lacrosse football fields. Then we talked about that little concrete ring, in Prairie Park. I think you could get 5 of those stations in there. And I know that we're gonna have the movies and the concerts, but that could just also bring awareness to that they're there too.
Well, we probably need to make a decision then on if we want to do it. You know, the location I would think is important as how many stations we're going to put up.
Well,
Is there anything planned for, is that Heritage Park in Blackberry, the big empty green field right in the middle of Blackberry?
No, nothing planned.
And I'm sure the Blackberry's not real thrilled about putting the fitness equipment there.
No,
They want it open. They want nothing put in there.
I would say that we don't have a location for 10 pieces of equipment. We could probably put, I would think maybe 2 or 3 at Prairie Park if you guys were interested in that.
To me, if we went 10, because when I was doing this, researching this stuff a couple of years ago, I saw that there were some that were actually like in kind of a concentrated area, almost like it was a little fitness park in of itself, where, you know, instead of playground equipment, you had all these different exercise equipment. So instead of maybe spreading 10 pieces out around a large area, you could actually make a little fitness park.
That would work. That kind of changes the I don't want to get too exercisey here. Takes the aerobic portion away though, because you know, say like at Nike Park and stuff, you run from station to station. Where here you just, you know, be like in a health club, which is, hey, if we want to go that way, that's fine. But just something to think about.
Yeah. Where would you, Pat, picture this fitness park going?
Well, that could be something that might be out at Elburn Station, because there's a big enough area to carve out, you know, a little chunk of land to have that in. It doesn't take a lot of space. I mean, it's literally like, it'd be like what we're building now with playgrounds.
Phase 2 of Elburn Station down on the north end?
And people could run to it and run, you know, home from it, you know. Like, I do get the cardio aspect of it, but
So if I'm understanding or maybe surmising, there's no, the preference seems to be to make a park as opposed to spreading pieces out. And following that, we don't really have a location right now to put multiple pieces in. Not until phase 2 of Elburn Station comes along.
well,
Right.
I wouldn't say it was a preference. I think I like both the ideas. Kind of a
Yeah,
concept.
it's an option. Yeah.
But I also like, you know, something around the perimeter of a park spaced around. I've always thought, like I said, Prairie Park was perfect because it's already got that little concrete arc, and you could just evenly space these things around and you know, and again, some of the seniors that live in that complex that's right there, they can come over and use them, because a lot of these things are body weight exercise equipment, so they're not going to get hurt on them. They can get either
I'll
or.
have to look at the shape of Prairie Park. Is the east side of Prairie Park that gets kind of odd shaped? Maybe put a few pieces down on the east end, concentrated? Or do they have to be alongside the path?
I guess I was, you know, the very beginning, I was kind of visualizing these little concrete square pads that would just kind of come right off the concrete sidewalk. And then that's where you would mount it. And then, you know, they'd be spaced evenly around the inside of that park.
Okay.
But that's for a small stuff, like for 5. I don't think you could put more than 5 in there. You could, but then they'd start getting tight.
Yeah.
Prairie
I'd
Park, Elburn Station, obviously you could put a ton around the perimeter of that.
I'd almost like to go with a smaller number. If you were going to do it now at Prairie Park, I'd like to go with a smaller number just to see what the feedback is. You know, maybe we put in a couple out there and nobody touches them. I'd rather nobody touch 3 pieces as opposed to nobody touching 10 pieces.
But I think it being at Prairie Park too, I think it's close enough too for the people from Pound for Pound. You know, if they're walking over there or running over there, it's an option for them to go work at the park too.
Yeah, I mean, we could lay it out. We could lay out, you know, 3 pieces or whatever, and then we get a little feedback, you know, we get some positive feedback, then we say, okay, well, we'll put in a couple more then. You know, maybe that's maybe an approach like that. So it's whatever you guys think. I think, all right, does anybody else have ideas on 5 or long range plan, or do you just want to mull it over and then email me your thoughts and I can put it on a piece of paper?
I would like to look it over again and
Yeah.
find stuff in.
All right,
John,
Maybe do a screen share too, eventually of it, if we're gonna do these Zoom meetings, I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind
Well-
of just to go line by line, I don't know.
yeah, well, just everybody, you know, come back with some ideas.
Okay.
Because I'd like to present the village board with an updated plan. Okay. So,
John, does the development that's gonna go up on the north end of town, have there been any kind of plans proposed for that? Or did I miss those meetings or anything?
There has not been anything that has been proposed for what goes into that park. But they've already been told that they need to present plans to you guys. As it stands right now, I would expect that there will be dirt being moved up there in the spring.
Okay, because I mean, Dan, if you're looking at long range, that's, you know, we've got to incorporate that new subdivision in some way, shape or form and putting something up there and I haven't seen any layouts of what they're planning to do up there whatsoever, so I don't know what kind of area we'd have, and it's about the only high ground we have in town that won't flood, so it's, you know, it might be some kind of prime property for
yeah,
a park that we don't have to worry about washing away.
Well, the
That would
good thing about that park is that they're paying for it and they're maintaining it.
Okay. So they're adding like an SSA to that area?
It will be maintained by the HOA. There will not be an SSA. Well, there will be a dormant SSA, but their HOA will maintain it.
Okay.
okay. All right, so give me some ideas. The plan for this coming year, it appears to be that the priority is going to be Prairie Park. The electric out there, that bandstand, some more events and such. Am I correct? That's our focus this year?
And there's nothing we can do at the community park?
The only thing that I can think of is as we kind of figure out some of these questions that came up in the meeting last night, at the same time, we can get a plan, a concept idea of what we'd be looking at out there. And I know that we were talking about using a new planner or maybe not using the planner, have the playground equipment guy come up with an idea, something like that. But if we at least get a concept plan, and then if we have a little bit of, we have a little money left over in the budget towards the end of the year, instead of doing that park, and if we can secure a lease, if the village board is on board with everything, then we run over there and we put in a piece of something, a basketball court. And we still got, you know, room next year when we apply for the grant. So we could piecemeal it possibly, but it all starts with having some type of a concept plan. So we need to work on that first. But it is a possibility. So. All right, I think I've talked enough about this stuff. You guys got any other comments, questions? Did I not cover something or?
I have
Hey.
something about the
Go ahead,
stage.
Pat.
I have something about the stage, and I know Brian said that he might have a donor. And I don't know where that's at. You know, obviously, we're talking about something a little more elaborate than when we first pitched the idea.
Mhm.
So we need to give the donors a price. So where are we gonna get the price? Who do we have that can build a stage?
So I was talking to that John who did our shelters and Prairie and Elliott. He's also going to do our Porto John covers because LRS was going to give us some free Porto Johns hopefully this summer. So we're going to build some structure. So he and I are talking about just finding a date to go out there and to look at it. My donor for the stage was like $5,000. Not significant for the coverage, because the concrete work is probably $5,000. You're right, Pat. It's going to be a lot more than we think.
Right.
We asked for 30 from the board. So that's what they were expecting. We got a little bit of room, but what are you, when you're talking concrete, are you just talking post holes, or are you talking a concrete slab? Because we were talking elevated stage, right?
Yeah, John said the guy that does the that would do the construction, or at least bid it, he said it'd be best for utilities or any other band equipment that you may bring in, since it's going to be an elevated stage, to put it on concrete, on a pad.
Okay.
So you can use the space underneath for storage of all the gear or any equipment that they're using it for that particular day. It gave you get two purposes for it. You get the stage, but then you also get storage for other summer events that you can stick in there and lock up.
Under the stage?
Because we're talking elevated by like 4 feet.
Okay, but I wasn't thinking that high, but okay. And if you make a 4-foot elevated stage out of concrete, yeah, that's big bucks.
Well, I'm just talking the flat work would be concrete, getting to the stage and then doing an area underneath the stage that would maintain utilities and a little bit of storage.
But the stage is lumber.
Correct.
Okay, now I'm with you. Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to have the pillars, the wood pillars, just like our shelters. They'd be the wood pillars going up. They would just be a covered stage. He's saying have an area that's flat work of concrete.
Hey, Brian, when you go out there with that guy, can you let me know so I can come along?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right, well, let's get a plan together and see what he's going to charge for all that, with some options, with or without, concrete slab all the way around it or whatever. You got to ask him about putting a backup so we can show movies on it. No, for real.
I don't know.
No, you don't think that would work, as opposed to having the movie guy bring his blow up out?
I don't know the capabilities of the person that I'm communicating with on the design for that.
Okay.
Well, if you do like obscurity, just has it on 2 like giant poles, so you can do something like that too.
Yeah, we could ask him about, putting anchors around the front frame of it. And maybe we could just get a large piece of material that could just be.
Yeah, they sell screens that you can buy and just pin
Yeah.
up. So
Yep.
All right, we'll see what you can come up with.
I'll make it a priority this month, get the outhouse costs to build those enclosed structures and get them over there.
Okay. Veterans Memorial Park, repairing that LED lighting around that tank. You guys in favor of getting that working again?
yeah, definitely.
Okay. Because I can, when the weather breaks, I can get in there and inspect it all and see what we need to make it work. Hopefully it's a couple easy pieces, but it's one of those things where we won't know until I start picking away at it.
Yeah, the LED lights themselves are usually not expensive, the outdoor ones, but I don't know what they would need for the electrical.
Yeah. If you saw the control box that's buried out there, it's fairly simple as far as the pieces. It's just the, if the electronic circuit board in there, that the brain of it, if that's still intact or not. So we'll figure it out. I hear a fan humming out there every once in a while, so something's moving. So, all right, so we'll take a look at that.
And one other thing,
Yes, sir.
it's been on our budget to do equipment additions to our existing parks.
Yes, sir.
And I know we've been looking at the bigger pictures for all these new parks going in. So I just want to mention it to the board that we definitely talked about doing that in 2020. And I'm going to start sending some emails that I'm getting from Rick from New Toys. I already sent one for a kids picnic table. If you guys check your email, just simple pieces, less than $1,000 a piece, to show some of our dedication to improving some of the existing parks that we're currently not even discussing at this point, because we're all about our new projects. And I want to remind us all, we did make a commitment in our budget to do that. And one of them is that on that Kindberg Court over there on the other side of the lake of the school is one of the families that I had spoken to and said it is in our budget to do some improvements over there. So I'm just putting that out as a reminder. We did make that budget item.
I would agree with you, Brian, especially on that location. I'd hope we could do something more than a bench, a picnic table. Get another piece.
I agree. I'm going to get Rick out here. Rick and I have been talking today about coming and driving around and looking at some of our existing parks. Prairie just got a brand new shelter. It looks great. We're talking the band shell. I just want to show everyone in the village where we're working throughout the village here.
Right. Okay. Let's do that. All right. Again, is there any other business discussions, comments?
I had someone on Facebook ask us if we needed any help, like for the Facebook page. I don't know if she was a photographer. I don't know. I think Dawn and I are handling it fine, but I don't know. What do you think, Dawn?
Yeah, if she wants to help, she's more than welcome.
I can make her it's not an admin, but it's like a content something moderator or something like that. So, okay.
Sure.
All right.
Absolutely.
Fabulous. Okay. All right. So if there's no other business,
I got one more.
oh God, not those equipment
tracks.
things again.
No. This is
Dog park, dog park, dog park.
No, I
dog park.
did have that on the list, but we'll talk about that one later. So, no, you guys are talking about Prairie Park and stuff. Well, I'm pushing the idea of having the railside race there this year, the railside 4-7. There's a little bit of a conflict with one of the other race directors, but the idea is to have it there at Prairie Park, but definitely want the Parks Commission involved in that somehow. And even if, and I've stuck to the race committee, but even if something we can raise money for the parks as well. So, but I think Prairie Park would be like a perfect spot for that, especially getting electricity out there, bathrooms, all that, being downtown where we used to have races before. So I just wanted to throw that out there that, I already talked to John about public parking out there. So, hopefully it's going to be a pretty big event, but, definitely Parks Commission can have a booth out there, get people where, whatever we need to. And if there's some piece of equipment we could try to raise money for, I think that would be a good opportunity. So, but either way, I think if it's not that race, I'd like to bring some kind of race out there this year. So,
Yeah, I don't see why you can't.
so
Okay. Is that it, Rob?
yeah, that's it.
Okay. All right. So
It's 2/16, not what's on the agenda. 2/16 is the next meeting.
Okay.
216, 27.
who put that on there?
217.
2/17.
Yeah.
I think we're bumped back again.
Yeah.
No, Dawn is absolutely correct. It is 2/17 because that Monday is President's Day and it's a holiday.
2/17 is Ash Wednesday.
Ash Wednesday.
I'll have to talk to my secretary about putting in the wrong date.
All right.
All right, so some of you have got assignments. We all have assignments for thinking what we're gonna do this year, thinking about long range, give me 5-year budget, blah, blah, all that stuff. All
Okay.
right, John, excuse me for the next 2 months.
Yeah.
Find somebody to take care of. If I'm coherent, I might pop in just to listen. If you see my face, I'm not gonna be running the meetings.
Can I get
And
a,
by the time we get around to the next meeting, I expect this is gonna all be in person.
Very good.
can I get a quick picture of everybody though for the Facebook page? Is that okay? I took one earlier, but I wanted to see you guys smiling. So on the count of 3, I'm going to take it. 1, 2, 3. All right. I
That's
think
as good as it gets.
Good
Yeah.
night, Link.
let's see how it looks.
All right, so we will adjourn this meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make it. Motion to adjourn. 8:08.
All right. Second by Brian. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned 8:08.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
See you tomorrow.